The best jokes are rooted in simplicity, and that's why Ricky's Trailer Park Boys quotes are always so funny. Rickyisms, a collection of lines attributed to the character, are a thing. Many great Ricky quotes involve wrongly substituting a single word or mispronouncing something, taking puns, metaphors, and wordplay to a whole new level. There's actually a term for this type of comedy or mistake, and it's called malapropism. Rickyisms have become a huge part of the character, a main feature of the show, and are reliably hilarious. For 12 seasons of Trailer Park Boys, Ricky found unique ways of expressing himself, from jalapeno chips and sweet empowered chicken to rocket appliances. In an early episode, Ricky clearly states, "I just don't know how to express myself sometimes when I need to be properly different." Constantly in and out of jail and looking for illicit ways to earn a living, Ricky is far from a pillar of the community. Yet, he's the driving force that kept the boys going for years, and his misunderstood maxims made him unforgettable. 30. I try to be a role model. Season 12, Episode 2, Godspeed My Muscular Friend. Ricky talks about being a role model in Trailer Park Boys. If there is one thing that all Ricky's Rickyisms have in common, it is the fact that they are almost always delusional. Ricky sees himself as more than he really is and more than anyone else could imagine when getting to know him. This specific Ricky quote shows that he might be a drug dealer and a criminal at heart, but he thinks that it, in some way, makes him a role model. This quote comes when Ricky is saying kids need to come to him for their drugs. Ricky claims that he is a role model for all the kids around the trailer park. He said that if any kid there wanted to grow some dope, they should come to talk to him and he will be there for them. Instead of growing dope 6 or 7 times through denial and error, they're going to get it right the first time and have some good dope, Ricky finishes in this quote. In some way, Ricky feels like teaching kids how to grow their own drugs, or selling them to the kids himself, makes him a role model to them all. 29. A link is only as long as your longest strong chain. Season 5, Episode 10, A **load of money. Ricky walking down the street in Trailer Park Boys. The worst thing in the world is seeing Ricky as the person who gives children life advice. Sadly, since he sees himself as their role model. Luckily, most of the kids have no idea what he is talking about, and that is because Ricky himself usually has no idea what he is talking about. In this case, Ricky is trying to explain how a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, meaning everyone has to pull their weight for the group to be at its strongest. However, Ricky confuses everyone when he gets the entire metaphor all mixed up. While explaining to the kids that they all need to work together, he says, "A link is only as long as your longest strong chain." When the kids all look at him in confusion, he pushes on and tries to explain it further, saying, "I'm just one of the links in the chain, but a link is only as long as your longest strong chain." Everyone was confused by this point, with Ricky seeming to even confuse himself. You could have prevented a murder. Season 1, Episode 3, Mr. Leahy's Got My Porno Tape. Julian listening to Ricky's message on Trailer Park Boys. If there is one thing Ricky is good at, it's laying guilt trips on his friends to get his way. In the Season 1 episode, Mr. Laney's Got My Porno Tape, Ricky needs to make money or Lucy will leave him, and he finally agrees to be in a J-Rock porno movie called From Russia with the Love Bone. However, things go bad when J-Rock's mother and Mr. Leahy show up in the middle of shooting, and Leahy takes the tape, threatening to show Lucy. Ricky decides he needs to get it back. Ricky then calls Julian and says he is going to break in and get the tape back, and he and Bubbles will probably have to kill Mr. Leahy and Randy to do it. He then asks Julian, via the answering machine, for help, or he and Bubbles will probably end up in jail and Julian could have prevented it. The entire thought process behind this was ridiculous, and it was the only reasoning that Ricky could have come up with in his mind to explain away his actions. 27. I missed jail this year. Season 10, Episode 9. Thugged Out Gangster *T. Ricky talking about jail on Trailer Park Boys. Eventually, it got to the point where the guys were so used to going to jail that when it didn't happen, it felt like something was wrong. That happened here when Ricky greeted Bubbles and Julian and then made this exclamation. He looked at them and said, disappointingly, "I missed jail this year." Was it awesome? The fact that he quickly felt he missed something awesome by staying out of jail for an entire year says all anyone needs to know about Ricky. As a matter of fact, Ricky has been in jail 18 different times. This is the record for the most crimes committed by a resident of Sunnyvale Trailer Park, and when looking at his neighbors, that is not something that he should be proud of. These crimes not only included growing pot, which is what most people would expect him to get arrested for, but also things like bootlegging liquor, running an illegal gas station, robbing retail outlets, and even holding up a bank.